you. I'm really glad you're here. I'm really glad we got to chat because we haven't ever gotten to chat. I know you are.
Right.
That's
right,
the really interesting thing is that I actually know who you are. And so my husband actually worked with your husband.
Yes. Volunteer. Yeah.
Yes.
The Fulton.
Working at the Fulton.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And does he still work over there?
Oh, yeah. He does it Wednesdays. And plus, he does a day a year tear down when they strike the set.
Yeah.
And things like that. So.
Oh, that's fun. That's
and
fun.
he's with a good group of retired men.
Yeah.
You know, from all different aspects
that are out there, out and about. Well, and we also were connected before we knew that we were in the same neighborhood, because of Katie.
Right.
So we were
My
chatting
daughter.
about that. Yeah, your daughter. So we were in Leadership Lancaster together, and then we connected the dots. At some point, Katie and I connected. And she's like, "I just grew up around the corner from you." I'm like, "Oh my God, this is very Lancaster." To like realize that you grew up around her.
Right, and it's interesting because now she works with. Well, she goes by Rebecca Fowler, a house away from me.
So
she grew up. She's older than Katie.
Yeah,
and they knew who each other were. And now they're both at the Fulton.
That's a small world. That's a small world. Now, you didn't grow up here. You were just mentioning this.
Right.
I don't know a whole lot about your background, so I'd love to dive into that. You grew up in
that's another thing. We're talking about neighbors and whatever. You don't know where anyone came from.
This is so true.
You know, it's like they just appear.
Isn't that the irony of it? Like all of a sudden, I'm like, are we going to be friends?
Yeah. They just appear and then you're next door neighbor now. And it's like, you know, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I grew up on Long Island.
Where in Long Island?
Nassau County, Garden City.
Yeah. My grandmother, they lived in Elmhurst. My mom's from New York City, from Elmhurst.
Yeah.
And then she moved to Santa Mauritius when
that's further.
So it's further out.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Jeff and I, when we met, my husband, Jeff, we both worked at Fortunoff's department store.
Oh.
Now it was a family-owned store.
Okay.
And it was probably the first store was in Westbury, New York. And it was probably the size of the old Bonton at the mall.
Okay, yeah, sure.
You know, the square building.
Yeah.
And it's a family-run business. And it started in Brooklyn, and then it just grew.
Okay. And
then they kind of separated, but it was under the same roof, like the jewelry sales and then the hard goods sales.
Okay.
So they had a jewelry store right on Park Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Fortunoff's. It's known for the jewelry too. And then they opened another whole store out in New Jersey.
Okay.
Because I worked for them when we were tracking where all orders were coming from.
Oh,
interesting. We're talking back in the late 70s.
Okay. And is that when you met Jeff? Was in the 70s?
Yeah.
And you were both working there?
Yes.
Then is he from New York City as well?
He's from Levittown, Long Island.
Oh, he's okay. So you were both from Long Island. You're both from Long Island. I got to hear how you ended up here.
His job.
Okay.
Well, his job brought us here. He's retired now, but he worked for Donegal Insurance Company.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So anyway, we both worked at Fortunoff's, and the way they tracked, I know this is probably going offline now, but the way they tracked where they were going to build their other store was by pins, you know, where the orders were coming from. They just had the map.
Oh, that's fascinating.
You know, and they put the pins in the order here. And most of the orders were coming from, the Jersey area.
Okay.
So that's when they opened the store there.
Okay. So opened a store in Jersey.
Yeah.
What did you do for them when you were working there?
Well, I was operation manager.
Okay.
Because I was going to college at the same time.
Oh, good for you.
So,
it's a lot. Working
it
was. Yeah.
It was. So, but I started out there as a cashier when I was just a freshman in college. I was a commuter in college. Mm-hmm. So, and then that's Jeff worked in the bath department, and then he was a buyer for luggage. And then he left the store. We didn't date when we worked because I kind of never dated anyone I work with. It was
that's probably not. That could be a piece of your advice for this show. Don't date people you work with. Right. Find other jobs.
Or if they leave, then you can date.
There you go. Somebody find a new job, okay?
But he ended up leaving. And he went into insurance. And because when you worked at Fortunoff's, it's a family-owned store. I mean, you worked like 6 days a week.
Oh, okay.
And you worked either 9 to 7 or 9 to 10.
Okay.
I mean, there was no in between.
Oh, wow.
And then it was the holidays, you had to like work for unending time, so because it was family owned and they were very like hands-on. So anyway, so when he left, then we started dating.
Okay.
And then we married in 82.
Oh, yeah. So you've been married, that's 44
years. So, yes, thanks.
It's a long time.
So then I went into insurance because the hours were great. I mean, he was like, 8 to 4 and I was still working retail hours.
Yeah.
So then I went into insurance. Well, I went to college, graduated too. He graduated college too. And then, I had majored in criminal justice because I was hoping to go to law school, but I didn't. But, so I went into insurance.
Okay.
But in the claims end of it.
Okay.
So I ended up being a senior commercial claims adjuster. And I traveled up and down the East Coast.
Oh, well, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So how long were you in insurance? Were you both working at the same time? Did you work at the same company eventually, or just
we never worked for the same company?
Yeah.
Because I had...
There's that advice. She's like,
rule.
Nope.
You don't work
with the rule. It counts even if you're already married.
So, yeah. So we never... and his job... He was in management quickly in insurance. Okay. So we followed his job. I followed his job.
Okay.
Because I could always get a job doing what I was doing.
Doing anywhere. Okay.
So we followed his job and it took us from Long Island to New Jersey.
Okay.
And we ended up in Flemington, New Jersey for 5 years.
Okay.
Which was a lot like Lancaster.
People don't realize that too, right?
Right.
Like if you get out into Western New Jersey and it's like Pennsylvania. It's countryside, really.
And it was really up 202, I think it was, into Lahaska, Pennsylvania, near the Delaware.
Yeah.
And all that. So it was a great location. So I ended up working there also, not for the same company. And then his job again, he had a choice, to advance himself. We ended up moving here to Lancaster.
And when was that? What year was that?
91.
Okay, and you moved into the house down the street in that then, yeah. So you've done some work on it and stuff. I think you built the wraparound porch.
Yeah.
So as somebody told me about that too, they knew you. I don't remember who this was because I meet all these people and we talk. And
I know, I did too.
And she's like, they built that wraparound porch on there, and I was like, oh yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about because I knew you had. Katie told me that you had done that.
And And the reason why we did that was that when we were dating out on Long Island, we used to always go to Sagamore Hill, where Roosevelt's summer house was.
Okay.
And this is, before 82. So it was like 80 or so, 1980. And we would just bring a lunch and there was this big, big porch.
Yeah.
And on his house, on Roosevelt's house. So we would just pack a lunch and we would go and sit on the porch and have lunch.
That's really fun.
And I don't know if it's still open to people anymore now, and we said someday, we want a porch someday on our house. Yeah.
Now, did you build this house or did you buy it and then you built onto it?
We were the second owners.
Okay, yeah, so we're the second owners of this one.
So anyway, we decided, I think for our 25th anniversary, Kate was like 6, I think. Let's do it. So we checked around, we looked at different porches and we didn't want we didn't want that on the front porch. The plastic.
Yeah.
Okay, we wanted a real front porch.
Real one, yeah.
So we were looking at different porches and we said, let's do the wraparound with the steps that go down the back on the sides. This way you don't have to go around the whole deck to go in the backyard. So we pretty much knew what we wanted. And so we looked around for a contractor and we found one.
It's a beautiful porch. It's a beautiful porch, folks. It's a beautiful porch.
And we love it. It's like another room.
Yeah. Well, you guys are out there often too. Yeah.
But it was interesting because as it was being built, so many people, and I'm so mad. I'm so glad you're doing this because I missed the opportunity to write down all people's porch stories.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
So many people that I didn't even know that when they would stop and they were like, I remember, the porch that I grew up on or my grandmother had or at the beach or whatever. And I'm so mad I didn't write those stories down.
That's really cool though.
It was really cool.
It's so important to connect. I think that's something that we often take for granted. We need this connection.
That's where suburbs have lost their connectiveness to people because people are busy.
We are busy, but we also we build fences. And I have this theory that social media has created a false sense of community.
Yes.
That you think you're part of a community, and virtually, yes, it's just not the same. It never will be the same as that person to person connection that we need as a society.
And that's why, you walk around, like I had a dog when I moved here. She was a golden retriever.
No, we have a lot of them in our neighborhood now too.
And we walked everywhere, her and I. This is before Kate was born. And that's when you get to know people by walking a dog.
Yeah.
And, you have to have that connection.
You do. It's funny, though. I will say that there are a few neighbors that I only know their dogs.
Yes. And that's
I do. I only know their dogs. I'm like, oh, there's Odin and his owner.
Yeah, right. And it's so true.
Yeah, it's funny.
But so then I had Katie. And
you had Katie both. So your kids were born here.
I had one daughter, right?
Yeah, okay. And they were born in Lancaster.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was born in 95.
Okay.
And unfortunately, Dolly died almost a year when Kate was a year.
Yeah.
But then I had her to walk, so
then you're out and about.
And she would, she would say hi to everyone, and I would point things out to her along the way. And as you walk around the neighborhood, there's those big round metal coverings for, I don't know, electricity
like or whatever.
Yeah. Every so often, and she used to use that as a stage. She used to pretend she was doing Mary Poppins song or,
She's always been connected to the theater then.
Yes. Since she was like 2.
Oh.
So, but then, she had her friends in the neighborhood. Yeah. It was a younger neighborhood when I, at that point.
Yes.
It's like,
It's turning. Yeah. Well, and it's shifting too. So we find ourselves, because our kids are, preteen. We came when they were younger, but now they're in their teens, and we're seeing a lot of neighbors come in with littles, and it's a lot of fun. So we have neighbors on all surrounded now, and it's really fun because you have Nancy and Andy across the street who are like older from the original folks that built their houses here. You have people like you who came in a little bit after that, people like me who are coming towards the later, and then new families that are jumping in and have little kids. So we've got this really eclectic, healthy neighborhood now. One of our neighbors that just moved in across the street, she's like, I feel like I won the neighborhood lottery.
And then my neighbor is building a house right over here.
Yes, Christine.
Yes. Right.
Yes.
They love the neighborhood, but they want a bigger house.
She wanted to be here. And so they got that lot. Yeah. I know. And she's over here every once in a while. We get together and chat because they're really good friends with Beth and Justin down the street.
Oh,
Their kids play baseball together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a great neighborhood to be in. And I think it was funny when we moved from Houston. In 2017, and we lived in Houston for 10 years. So that's where my kids were born. They're actually born from Texas. I'm from Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Wow.
My husband kind of is from Minnesota. He went to a bunch of different high schools and moved around a lot. But it's so interesting to me that my kids are going to feel like they're from Pennsylvania because this is where they grew up. And I'm like, that's not where we're from. How is that for you? Like, you're from Long Island, but Katie doesn't identify as...
Consider her a New Yorker. My whole thing was coming from Long Island. I just felt I had the New York edge.
Okay. Yeah.
In business. And whatever. And I said, she's going to have that edge. And she does have that edge. So I'm fine.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Because when we lived in Houston, we always lived in the suburbs. We lived in the downtown area. Houston's huge. But people move so much. Like every 3 years, people move to a different house. So like there's a very transient community there for the most part. And I never believed in the white picket fence, like the whole idea of like, there's these little cute neighborhoods with these white picket fence. We never really knew our neighbors. You knew a couple of people, and you'd make friends, but you'd make friends through other ways. So when we moved here, I'm like, we're we live in this neighborhood. Like we live in that movie that you see where there's neighbors all know each other and how like that really exists here.
Well, I grew up in Garden City and my father died when I have a twin sister.
Oh.
And I have a brother who's 13 years older than I am. But my dad died when my sister and I were 6.
Goodness.
So, but what happened then, we would always connect with the neighbors because that was just the neighborhood.
Yeah,
you
do. Yeah.
So my sister and I always called, Aunt Mary and Uncle Louie, Aunt Gloria and Uncle Neil, and we could aunt and uncles. We called them all the time. So when my father died, it was like everyone, everyone
came together. Yeah.
Came together. And from that point on, until I moved out in 82, from there, I got married in 82. But, everyone, you were close.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
because you had to rely on each other in a community in a way that you don't see as much, but I will say there's something, and I think is more in Lancaster County specifically. I definitely find that more because I have some other friends in other neighborhoods and they have the same kind of experience. Like they're friends with their neighbors. They're going to have dinner all the time. They're like, hey, you want to grab like I have a couple of neighbors. I'll be like, hey, I just opened a bottle of wine.
Yeah. And, that was more prevalent when Kate was younger for us.
Yeah.
There was some neighbors that was like every weekend, it was like,
yeah, let's get together.
And then it was like for Jeff and I, and it was fine when Kate was young and everyone was, drinking and, like whatever. But then when she started getting older, we just couldn't keep up with it.
Yes. Yeah, that is the truth.
Because we were older. I was 38 when I had her.
Okay, yeah, I was a little older too.
But anyway. So with the neighbors, so when I moved from there, I moved further east on Long Island in Porch Port Jefferson, which is on the Sound.
Okay.
And it was we had an apartment, and I knew my apartment neighbors because you didn't have a wash and dryer in your apartment out there. It was you had to go to the
washing room.
Big washing room, and but Jeff had lived there. This is really funny because he had lived there before we got married.
Okay.
So I moved into his apartment.
Oh, okay.
And he was at the corner, the end, like the parking lot, and then you walk up and his apartment was there. And they were like condos.
Okay. Sure.
It wasn't, they had a balcony.
Yeah.
And all that. And you were upstairs or downstairs.
Okay.
So, but when I moved into there and I was talking to everyone. Now, my husband is not a talker.
Yeah.
Okay. So he didn't know anyone. And he lived there like 4 years.
Yeah. And I just my husband if I wasn't like me. Yeah.
I moved in and then it was like, I knew everyone in like within months.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, and that's a question I think that's interesting. When we talk about people and not building that relationship, I got a great piece of advice when we moved here, and my husband's cousin's wife said, because she moved with military, just invite people over. They don't care if there are boxes in your living room.
Right.
They don't care. Invite people over. So what would be your advice? Like when you think about getting to know your neighbors, just like you did back in the apartment complex, like what's the advice you would give people to get to know your neighbors?
Bring them something when they move in,
like
cookies or it can even be from the bakery. You don't have to actually do it.
Bring a gift.
Bring a gift or
Say
something.
Hello.
Yeah. And just do a constant. And then you got to feel whether they want to have a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we had neighbors move in probably maybe 5 years now. And they have older kids that are out of the house when they moved here. Okay. So we didn't know the kids or anything.
Yeah.
And nothing.
Yeah. That's okay.
I mean, it's fine. But I'm like,
I want to have a neighbor in talk to.
And it's
nothing.
Hands.
Yeah.
For everyone.
Yeah.
Like even their next door neighbors. They just don't want anyone in it.
We have a few of them like that.
The guy's a pastor. He's a retired pastor.
Maybe he's had enough of people. He had all he needs. He doesn't need no more. But I would always find so when we had some neighbors move to Victoria, so it was always a scary thing to me, like because we had new neighbors move in, and we knew the neighbors there. And we're like, okay, we hope this is really great neighbors, and they are. They're wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But I would take them something, and you know what I brought? Because I was talking to a girlfriend, and nowadays you don't know, are they gluten tolerant?
Oh, I know.
Are they vegetarian? And some of them don't each other. So I brought cleaning supplies. I always bring cleaning supplies because when you move into a new house, you always see, and I have my favorite kind of cleaning supplies. Like, these really work good. So I'll bring something like that, or I'll bring, like, they had kids, so I'll bring the kiddos something, and they have a dog, so I'll bring a little chew toy. I'll bring a few little things that I'm just like, hey, it's great to have you in the neighborhood.
And then you see where it goes.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, and I think it was the era, because a lot of neighbors, everyone was outside more.
Yeah.
Here they're not.
Not as much. And we find it more in the spring, I think, of the people walking through. So I always say hi to neighbors when they're walking by.
Yeah. I do too. I wave.
Yeah. You need to have a porch party. That's what you need to do.
I know, I do. I need to have a porch party.
So just, like, tell everybody I've got a bottle of wine, and we will all be there.
I'll do that. It doesn't take much for me.
Girl, I'll come. I'll bring my own wine. All you have to say is we're going to have wine.
So we have Nepalese moved in.
Oh, yeah.
And which is really fun. I mean, it's a whole different culture.
Yeah, it is. It's really fun to see our neighborhood change to, and get, and like I said, turn and create new communities and new people that are there. And that's really, it's really fun to see, but it does take effort.
I think when they moved here I think they lived in the city.
Okay.
I don't think their neighbors were as nice, weren't nice to them.
Oh,
so when they, you kind of bring baggage with you,
That's just true. When I think a lot of people, like, I moved and I didn't ever lived in neighborhoods where it was as friendly as we are here, where you would just be like, hey, let's invite people over. And, like, Steve on one side of us, he met actually my kids before he met us.
Oh, okay.
Because when we moved here, the kids would climb in the trees that are over here. And they'd poke their little heads out. They were like 3, 5. They'd poke their heads out and they'd be like, hi. And he'd be like,
yeah,
hi. So they met him before we met him, and now we hang out all the time.
Right. So, so it's fine. But unless you walk and have a baby or a dog,
it can be more challenging, especially as you get older. Yeah. You know what I love is I love people like Judy. I love people like Judy who make sure and that they
connections,
build the connections across the community.
Yeah, she's great at doing that.
She really is great at doing that.
Unfortunately, even after COVID, we lost around 5 women that Judy and I were connected to.
Oh, but that's tough. And I think that's a tough thing as you grow older and you're shifting your changes of life. Like you said, you were young and you moved here with your puppy, and then you had kids, and there's those things that carry you through. And then as people move and shift and change, and the people that you had, like you said, you lost them. You lost some of those people. You lost some of your friends and the people that you were connected to.
And it's funny because it's not, they're not relatives. They're not really like buddy friends, but they're constant.
Yeah, they're constant.
And you miss that constant connection, always knowing that person's in that house and you can knock on the door or wave.
Or check with somebody. I've got my neighbors across the street. They'll text me every once in a while. So it's me again. We can't remember if we shut the garage.
Oh, yeah.
We will always be we'll be more than happy to check.
I do that. Well, when I used to walk a lot, people used to leave their garage doors open.
Oh, yeah.
And I would knock on their door.
Yeah. By the way, your garage is open.
I said, oh, no, I didn't, But then one neighbor one time, irate, even though she didn't know it was open.
Oh.
So I just don't, it's like, you're on your own.
Yeah. All right, lady, you're on your own. Everybody else, I'll tell you, but
you're on your own. I just have a good heart.
Yeah, I know some people that have those crazy neighbors. Like, we don't have the crazy neighbors around us. Like, there are crazy neighbors in the neighborhood. Yeah. We all
oh, I know some of them.
But we don't have any around us. You have to find the places that you can be connected to.
Right.
And I think it's something really cool when we can build those communities.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. But it takes 2.
It does take 2.
So
be open to it.
You have to be open to it.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah. If you don't, make the moves, the conversation, then it's not going to.
Yeah, then nothing's going to happen. And you can't always wait for someone else. But you also have to be open to, having someone else happen.
Like, I don't really know any of the kids anymore because Kate's older. She's 30. So I don't really. And
that's kind of
so that's different.
Yeah, that is kind of different. Yeah.
And plus I haven't walked because I had this foot injury. So I haven't really walked for a while. So I don't get to.
Yeah, you don't get out and about quite as much. Well, I hope you start feeling better and you start making the rounds.
Yes, especially with the weather.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous, isn't it? It's gorgeous.
I love this. I love the 70s. Yeah, mid 70s.
I can't even do a 60s. The mid 60s.
60s, me too.
I can deal with it, and I don't. Weather like this, it's overcast, is fine with me.
Me too. Me too.
Like, I don't mind
because the sun is so much stronger now.
Yeah,
it is. It's like. But
thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me and getting to know each other better.
Yeah. So I think this is great.
Yay!